You have an exam coming up, but you haven't studied anything. Sounds bad, but it's okay. Calm down. I've been in that exact situation more than once, and I passed. One time I even got a surprising high score, despite preparing super quickly. It's not about how long you study, it's about studying in the right place in the right way. So, today, I'm going to show you how to survive an exam even when you feel like it's too late. No fancy theories, no moral lessons, just what really works when you have to plow in the shortest time possible. You don't have to be good at studying. Just be alert, know what you're doing, and study the right parts. But before you dive into studying, take care of your head. Studying like a dead banana is a waste of time. You have to turn on your brain first, like starting up your computer before opening the software. And the easiest way is to take care of your energy in a smart way. First, don't drink coffee if you're not used to it. It can make your heart beat faster, make you jittery, and make it hard to concentrate. Green tea is a better choice. It still has caffeine to keep you awake, but it comes with L-theanine, which helps you stay focused without shaking your hands or getting jittery. If you have fish oil, that's omega-3. Take one. It's not a miracle, but your brain needs good fats to function properly. It's not mandatory, but it definitely helps. If you don't have it, don't panic. It's still fine. Next, eat. This is the time to eat like someone about to take an exam, not like someone watching a movie. Instant noodles, snacks, bubble tea, all of them should be cut out. Not because I'm making it difficult for you, but because those things will drain your energy, make you sluggish, sleepy, and foggy-headed. Instead, eat something simple and beneficial like a handful of walnuts, a few almonds, or some dark chocolate. Even just a glass of warm milk is enough to calm your nerves and increase your ability to concentrate. Don't skip meals, but don't overeat either. Eat enough to feel full, lightheaded, and ready to fight. Just a few small things, but they will make a big difference. You will learn faster, remember longer, and especially not feel stuck in the middle. Now, your mind is clear, your stomach is not hungry, your spirit is ready. At this point, the biggest question is what to study now, since there is not much time left. Trying to study everything is not feasible. If you try to cram everything, you will only fall into a state of rambling, unfocused learning, and ultimately not retaining anything. Instead, you need a wiser choice. Study exactly what you will be taking the exam. It may sound a bit calculating, but in reality, this is the only way to survive the final days. It's not cheating. It's strategic. You don't have the luxury of wasting time on nice-to-have or not-to-have stuff. The simplest way is to recall which parts of your lessons your teacher emphasized. Was there a sentence they repeated over and over again? Was there a passage where they said something like, "This is very good for exams," or "Remember to study this part carefully"? Those are valuable hints. If you can remember a few of them, congratulations. You have a treasure map in your hands. If you don't remember, don't sit there regretting it. Take the initiative to ask your friends, especially those who take good notes, or those who have the habit of studying early for exams. Sometimes just one timely question can save you hours of searching. This is not the time to be proud. You need information, not showing off. If no one in your group seems to know anything more than you, Google is your last resort. Try typing in keywords like last year's exam, commonly asked questions, or key information for this semester. Don't worry about being precise. You're looking for a general guide, not a holy grail. After a few minutes, you'll start to see some patterns. Which questions come up frequently, which ones are almost guaranteed to come up. Once you have an idea of what you need to learn, the next step is to filter the material. The most common mistake students make in the sprint phase is to open the material and start reading it from cover to cover, like they're reading a novel. The problem is that you don't have time to savor every word. You need to cut, and filter, and you need to do it intentionally. Divide everything you need to learn into 3 groups. The first group is the stuff you absolutely must learn. It's often on the test. It's easy to get points for, or it's something your teacher has emphasized. This is your top priority, and you should spend about 60–70% of your time on it. The second group is the stuff you should learn if you have time. It's not guaranteed to be on the test, but it's still worth knowing, especially if you want to get more points. Spend about 20–30% of your time on this group. The last group is the ones that can be skipped if time permits. Not because they are not important, but because you are choosing between surviving and drowning. At this stage, don't try to learn right away. Use the time to narrow down. Highlight the sections you need to learn. Skim the table of contents and understand how the material is organized. If it's a textbook, look for the summaries at the end of the chapter. If it's the slides your teacher gives you, focus on the headings and the repeated examples. You are building a map, and the clearer the map, the less confusing the path. Remember, at this stage, learning is not about sitting in one place for 3 hours straight, eyes glued to a book. It's about learning strategically, focusing on the most important things, reviewing frequently, understanding the principles rather than rote memorization. You don't have time to waste on studying, so every minute must be used properly. Although you have determined what you need to learn, the remaining problem is how to learn quickly, effectively, and on time while still remembering it when you enter the exam room. This is no longer the time to wait for inspiration or study each line slowly. Now, you need a smart enough way to cram knowledge into your head as quickly as possible without being overloaded or confused. First of all, get rid of the idea of having to understand every detail. In the sprint stage, understanding each concept deeply is only necessary if it is really related to the exam. Otherwise, if there is a part that is too difficult to understand, learn to memorize the result or the main structure. For example, if you do not understand why a formula is like that, at least remember in which case it is used and what the elements are. At this time, remembering to do the test is more important than understanding everything thoroughly. Take advantage of the power of mind maps or bullet points. Don't rewrite the material verbatim. Rewrite it in your own words, as briefly as possible. Each page you write should be a condensed, concise, easy-to-remember version. When you write by hand, your brain has already started processing the information, which helps you remember it much longer than if you just skim through it. Also, don't try to study for hours at a time. After about 25-30 minutes of concentration, your brain starts to slow down. Study in short bursts, take short breaks, then come back to it. The Pomodoro method. 25 minutes of study. 5 minutes of break is very suitable for this situation. The important thing is that while studying, you must really focus. No phone, no social media, no playing music to relieve boredom. Studying for an hour and losing focus 5 times is worse than studying for half an hour and maintaining full attention. When you finish a section, don't rush to the next section. Take a few minutes to ask yourself, what do I remember? You may not remember everything, but if you can summarize it in words, it means you understand enough to do the test. If not, you need to review, not just continue studying as if everything is fine. And always remember, reviewing knowledge is not just rereading notes, but creating your own questions, answering them. If you can redo an old question without looking at the material, that is a good sign. If you have to check every single idea, it means you have only read through, not really understood. If you have a friend who is also studying for the test, take advantage of it. Study together. Ask each other short questions. Test each other with simple questions. That is a way to help both of you consolidate knowledge without too much stress. And if you study alone, try talking out loud, explaining the lesson to yourself. It sounds strange, but it is a very effective way to turn knowledge from just read to already known. Most importantly, don't panic. Worrying doesn't help you remember things better. It just makes you tired and disoriented. Study strategically, take breaks at the right time, and stay calm. These are the 3 factors that determine whether you can turn things around or not. When you have gone through the sprint phase with high concentration, studying strategically, not rambling but going straight to the core, then you not only have knowledge, you also have a clear map in your mind about the exam, how to do the test, and how to make the most of what you have studied. But like any journey, the last leg always requires the most alertness. And that last leg is when you step into the exam room. From the moment you hold the test in your hand, the first thing is not to bury your head in writing or panic to find easy questions. Take a few minutes to cover the whole thing. Look at the test like a map. Then choose a route for yourself. Whichever questions are easy, do them first. Whichever questions are familiar, do them right away. Don't let the order of the questions determine the order of your test. In an exam where you don't have much time, choosing the order of your test wisely can largely determine your final score. There is never enough time for perfectionism. You need to calculate it like a chess player running a clock. For example, if the test has 5 questions, divide the time according to the score of each question. The questions with more points. Spend more time, but do not dwell on them for too long. When you feel stuck, put it aside for a while. It is not giving up, but conserving resources to solve the rest. In the exam room, a minute of clarity is worth more than 10 minutes of confusion. When doing the test, remember that presentation is not only for the grader, but also a way to help yourself think more clearly. Write with a reasonable structure. Break lines. Highlight important points. All will make the test coherent, even if the content may not be perfect. An easy-to-understand, clean, systematic answer will always have an advantage over long, confusing paragraphs. You may encounter a strange question, a concept you have never seen before. Don't panic. During the exam preparation period, you learned how to recognize the structure of the test, how to extract keywords, how to connect with familiar parts. So apply what you have practiced, analyze the question carefully, break it down into layers, use what you know to answer the part you understand. You don't have to get everything right. Just show the examiner that you understand the nature of the problem. And above all, let's keep a cool head. Stress in the exam room is something that everyone experiences, even the best students. When you feel your heart rate increase, your hands shake a little, your mind goes blank, it's not because you've forgotten everything, but because your brain is reacting to the pressure. At that time, sit up straight, breathe slowly, look into the distance for a few seconds, then return to the question. You've overcome the late-night exam preparation sessions, the moments when you feel tired and want to give up. A few minutes of pressure in the exam room can't make you falter. When it's time to submit it decisively, the way you learned it, neatly, firmly, without looking back. Whether you've done a lot or a little, tell yourself you've done the best you can at this point. It's a competition, not a judgment. And you who dared to go back, to start over, to push your limits, have won in your own way. Nothing happens overnight. But big changes can start in just a few weeks, if you're serious enough, strategic enough, and persistent enough. And if you've come this far, believe me, you can absolutely pass the exam ahead. Not by luck, but by the effort you put in. Every day, every hour, every line you wrote, every minute you sat silently studying when others gave up. Because in the end, the most miraculous thing is not that you passed an exam, but you realize you can change your destiny from your own determination, and that will follow you for life.